Today, I'm reviewing a race from the 2026 Scottish Team Racing Championships. It's a 3v3 dinghy team race between black, which is the Tartan Titans, and yellow, which is Kickflip. And the Tartan Titans go on to win this event. And what's interesting about this race review today is that I am sailing for Kickflip. So this is me right here. And in this event, I'm starting at the boat end, and what we're going to do a bit differently in this race review is I'm going to talk you through what my decision-making process or what I was thinking about in this race was. So right here, I'm actually a bit late for the start. It's 1 minute 30, so I've jibed in on top of that stack. I'm going to try and win the boat end, and I've jibed in on top of them because we're late, and I wanted to lead my pair in. But unfortunately, being above everyone meant that black boat could luff me. And so here, I'm going to try and get control of one of these two black boats behind me and try and control them in towards the line. But one of them very quickly bears away and gets a little bit of a hook on me. And I think, well, actually, I'm going to change tactic here, and I'm going to luff this other black boat. But then that black boat rolls me, which leaves me in a bad position because I have to do a double tack, and I am definitely late for the start. And my teammate is too. And I know that. So now I need to push them in hard. I need to get everyone going towards the start line. So instead of going down low like I normally would to try and push my pair in, I go very high to drive everyone towards the start early because I've already messed this start up in a lot of ways. So I'm trying to recover it and avoid both me and my teammate being locked out on the lay line. And here it's quite soon to go, and I'm actually over the line. But that black boat can't get up to me because there's been a bit of a header, and also it would open them up to being luffed by my teammate, who could then go underneath them. So I actually end up against all odds with a pretty decent start, and one of my opponents is over. But off the line, because I've had to do that big bear away to avoid being over, I'm not moving that quickly. So I think I'm going to slip off this guy's hip. So I tack off, and I get a pretty nice tack in there actually, and my teammate is able to get rid of the guy who was on me. And so then I'm looking at the course and I'm thinking, well, I need to go out to the right hand side of this beat because I've got to stick with that boat, the black boat who's just gone off screen, because we've got to pair up here. Now what's unfortunate about this is that they're in a big six and it's quite a shifty beat, and so ideally I would be playing the shifts here, and it's always a tricky decision you've got to make between how much you play the shifts and how much you stick with your pair, because on the one hand, you do want to get to the mark first. You do want to be first or second to the windward mark by playing the shifts and fleet racing the first beat. But on the other hand, you don't want to let any single boat, especially on a shifty course, get all the way out to one side of the course. You don't want them to be there without one of you guys there too, because if there's a big lift then coming into the mark, that boat could quite easily go from sixth through to second or third. So as we're coming in towards the mark, I'm thinking, well, we're looking at maybe a 1-2 here. I'm thinking, do I have a sniff at a 2? My teammate might have a 1 on the other side. What am I going to do? We've got a black boat here. I don't mind them being there because I'm on the lay line. And I think at this point, well, I'm just going to roll over the top. But actually, my opponent here is a guy called Ben. He's been in one of my previous videos, Ben Tylercoat, and he gives me a big luff there. And I think I'm just going to roll over the top. I remember thinking it in the race. I thought any second now I'm going to roll right over him. But he really, really well, he manages to keep so much flow over his foils and really keep his boat moving. And I've stalled out a bit. In hindsight, I think maybe probably during the bear away from those luffs, I'm a bit oversheeted. But basically, he manages to stop me, and I'm now thinking instantly, and I remember calling it to my teammates, I say, well, we don't have a 1-2, but let's play 4. That's great. We're still in a strong winning combination. My teammate in 5, he's going to slow down the boat in 6. So my job in 4, I'm thinking here is, well, I've got to stop 2 or 3 from slowing me down, taking me out. So I sail high here, because the worst thing to do if you're in 4 is sail very low on the bottom reach, because then you can more easily be mark trapped. It's a really powerless position, whereas if you're high, you've got space to dive underneath boats like I just did there. Now, they can't both mark trap me. They're going to get in each other's way. So I just keep high. I don't ever commit to a side. That's the thing you really want to avoid doing as the boat behind. You always want to make sure you have space to swing your bow behind their stern, like I've just done there. The boat in 2 really wants to come and attack me, but hasn't really been able to. I do commit to a side there, but that's only because I know that we've got enough horizontal separation that I can then break the overlap, which I do. And I call proper course, and then we both have to bear away to our proper course. Now, at this point, I realise my teammate has lost the 5. So now we've got a choice, which is, do I try and convert my teammate back into 5 and we play the 1-4-5, or do I push forwards and try and get the 1-2? And I'll admit here, something I'm a bit prone to is having a bit of ego about this. And sometimes I think, well, I'm just going to try and sail through them. I'm going to just go for it, go for the 1-2. And I knew from earlier on in the day, from previous races we had, that the right-hand side of the run, or well, the left-hand side as you see it on screen, but the right-hand side of the run was fast. It was better wind there. The other half is a bit covered by the island. So I knew I could get nice speed there. I keep on breaking that overlap with that guy, Ben, in the middle, who keeps trying to luff me. And I protested him. Every time he's come up to get me, I've protested him to the umpires. And actually at this point, you can see just there, one of the umpires raises a red flag and gives him spins, which it's hard to tell from this angle on the video, but I felt like there was a good chance that one of those would come off as spins for him. At this point, I don't jibe. You can see I only jibe once the black boat inside me jibes, because I could see they were coming down to try and get me, because they don't want us to have a 1-2. He still wanted to take me out, that other black boat. And now we're in a 1-3-4. So this is a really nice place to be. But although the team might be in a nice combination, I'm not in a good spot because I'm underneath one of the black boats, which means that if my teammate wants to do a jibe back, which they do there, and I was thinking at that point, why did you do it there? Because that is not a good place to do a jibe back. Even if he had done it in the right place, he wouldn't have been able to take out the opponent because I'm underneath the opponent. So instead I'm thinking, well, round this mark, I'm just going to sail fast up the first beat. I give him a bit of a luff around the mark, and he doesn't want to sit in that lane. He doesn't want to sit on my hip, so he tacks off. And unfortunately for him, he tacks onto a big header, and this is a really shifty final beat in the cover of that island. And then I'm able to just tack straight over his bow. So now I'm thinking, great, I've got the 1. Let's play 1 here. So I tack off there because I don't want to give my teammate bad wind. It's not a great tack from me, as you can see. This beat was horrible. It was horrible all weekend. I mean, the video doesn't really do credit to just how shifty and patchy this beat was behind the island. I think race management did a great job. There wasn't really many other places they could have moved the course to, but it made it pretty horrible to sail. What we're thinking about really here as a team is we're just thinking who is with each of the black boats. I'm at this point pushing left because I can see that one of the black boats is popping out my teammate, and I'm also aware that the black boat who's in 6, they've got really nice speed. They're sailing fast up that left-hand side, and the other boats on the left-hand side now have a big lift. I get that. The last thing I want to do is tack off and leave these 2 black boats on their own. So I keep going to this side, but really one of us, probably my teammate, should have gone with that other. There is one black boat who's gone right, and one of us should have gone with them. I dial that black boat there slightly because I want him to end up on my teammate's hip, which I don't quite manage. And then I'm worried about getting caught, so I just tack over his bow on the next header, which then when I tack it, I'm lifted. So I get over him, luckily. And at this point, I know I've got the 1 secured because we're close to the finish line, which you can see on the right-hand side of the screen. But I'm worried the danger boat is now this black boat, which is most to the right, and I'm worried about them blocking my teammates from tacking. So I tack on top of him and I flap, and now he's had to tack off as well. And now I've got myself and one of my teammates heading towards the line. My teammate is able to duck when that boat comes back to attack them, and they're still on lay. My other teammate has now tacked off and is heading towards the finish line. So at this point, I'm thinking one of my teammates is going to get the 3, so I can finish confident that we're going to have a 1-3 or a 1-2. In fact, one of the black boats then gets another set of spins, and we have the race stitched up. Shame we couldn't do that for some of our other races that weekend.